Title: The Man Who Predicted World War I and Was Completely Ignored. What if I told you that one man saw World War I coming years before it happened? Not just a vague warning, but a detailed, chilling prediction of a global catastrophe. He knew alliances would drag nations into war. He foresaw the scale of destruction. He even warned exactly how it would begin, and yet almost no one listened. This is the story of the man who predicted World War I and was completely ignored. This is the story of the man who predicted World War I and was completely ignored. Intro sequence 0:30 to 0:45. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe for more untold stories from history, because sometimes the biggest warnings are the ones no one hears. In the early 1900s, Europe looked powerful, modern, and stable on the surface. Empires dominated the continent. Industry was booming, and many believed civilization had reached a point where large-scale war was simply impossible. But beneath that calm exterior, tensions were building. Nations were forming alliances, militaries were expanding rapidly, nationalism was growing stronger by the day. It was a powder keg, and one man saw it clearly. That man was Ivan Bloch, a banker, railroad financier, and unlikely military analyst. He wasn't a general, he wasn't a politician, but he had something just as powerful: data. Bloch spent years studying modern warfare, technology, economics, and logistics, and what he discovered terrified him. In 1898, he published a massive 6-volume work analyzing the future of war. His conclusion: the next major war in Europe would be unlike anything the world had ever seen. Bloch argued that industrialization had changed warfare forever. Machine guns, rapid-fire artillery, and modern rifles would make traditional battlefield tactics obsolete. Armies wouldn't be able to advance. Instead, they'd dig in. The result? A long, drawn-out stalemate, trench warfare. He predicted that millions of soldiers would be stuck in defensive positions, unable to move forward without massive casualties. But he didn't stop there. Bloch warned that the war wouldn't just be fought on battlefields. Entire economies would collapse. Supply chains would break down. Civilians would suffer on an unprecedented scale. In short, he predicted total war. So how did governments respond to this warning? They ignored it. Military leaders dismissed Bloch's ideas as overly pessimistic. They believed war would be quick and decisive, just like the conflicts of the past. Many even thought new technology would make war faster, not deadlier. Bloch tried to spread his message. He presented his findings at conferences. He pushed for peace initiatives. He even influenced early discussions about international arbitration. But it wasn't enough. The world wasn't ready to hear what he had to say. Then came 1914. A single assassination triggered a chain reaction of alliances. Within weeks, Europe was at war, and almost immediately. Bloch's predictions came true. Soldiers dug trenches stretching for hundreds of miles. Machine guns mowed down advancing troops. Battles dragged on for months, then years. Millions died. The war became exactly what Bloch had warned about: a brutal stalemate fueled by industrial power. So why didn't anyone listen? Part of it was optimism. Leaders didn't want to believe that modern civilization could produce such destruction. Part of it was pride. Military traditions were deeply ingrained and difficult to challenge. And part of it was simple human nature. It's hard to accept a future that feels too catastrophic to be real. Bloch wasn't offering hope. He was offering a warning. And warnings are easy to dismiss until it's too late. Today, Ivan Bloch is largely forgotten, but his work stands as one of the most accurate predictions in military history. He didn't just foresee a war. He understood how technology would reshape it and how devastating it would become. His story reminds us of something important. Sometimes the most valuable voices are the ones we ignore. So the next time you hear a warning that sounds extreme, it might be worth paying attention, because history has shown us being early can look exactly like being wrong until it isn't. End screen, 11 o'clock to 11:15. If you enjoyed this story, check out our next video on hidden predictions.